Kevin Burkhardt, of course, is not in his pajamas early in the evening as he's got to do all the pre and post with his crew there, including Big Papi and Jeter and and A-Rod and the whole 9 yards. He says hello. Kevin and I used to work together at WFAN in New York years and years ago. We have a long-standing relationship. Mr. Burkhardt, how are you today, pal? Okay? Things good?
You're the best, dog. Thanks for having me, man. Good seeing you, bud.
First off, if this series ends on Friday, is there a nonstop from L.A. to Green Bay? Don't you have the Lions and Packers on Sunday afternoon? Or is that a Nance game with Romo? Who's got that game? Is it Fox or CBS?
Nobody better schedule than you. No, if it ends on Friday, there is an airline called United, which is taking me. So if it goes to Game 7, then maybe have a little bit of a ride to get there. Otherwise, it's hard to get to Green Bay, dog. But yeah, so we'll see. If it goes to Game 7, I need a little help. But Game 6, I'll be at LAX with everyone else on Saturday morning, bud.
Russo Eric can help you out to get you to Lambeau as we get ready here. Thank God for everybody last night. We got ourselves a fifth game at least. I was very surprised that this was 3-0. I think the world thought somebody in 7, so 3-0 Dodgers had me shocked. Give me your thoughts on that first. Go ahead.
Yeah, it did for sure. And look, Game 1, obviously epic, and then you're seeing how the teams respond from that. And I thought the next two games were, even though they were 42 games, I thought they were non-competitive, really. I know that's weird to say about a 2-run game, but it never felt like watching the game that the Yankees were in any of those games, even in the end, when they had the threats in both those games in the 9th inning. So, I thought they were tight offensively. And I thought that, I thought Derek said it last night on the postgame show, after Volpe's grand slam, it just felt like they all took a breath and they all relaxed a little bit. So it was good. These two teams are too good. A sweep would have been a real bummer. So now we got a little bit of juice. And I'll tell you what, if it somehow gets back to Dodger Stadium, it's got a lot of juice because no team has ever forced a Game 6 after being down 3-0 in the World Series.
Which is hard to believe when you think about it. It's only happened 3 other times before yesterday, which is time number 4. And you got good weather tonight. The ball should fly out of there. And you're right. There should be a little loosey-goosey approach by the Yankees. And Game 1, Kevin, was a tremendous game. We've had a lot of great games in this postseason. Some of those Tiger-Guardian games are excellent. The second game there, Mets and the Brewers was phenomenal. Obviously, the Mets and Phillies had a lot of great games. The Yankees and the Guardians in Cleveland. But, boy, that Game 1 in this World Series on Friday, that's as good a Game 1 as you're ever going to get in postseason play, World Series play. How about that for a sec? Let me hear.
Yeah, one of the best I've been lucky. I've been around a lot of great games like you have. It's one of the best I've ever seen. I mean, just so much drama and so many things, so many points in the game where you thought, okay, that's the big moment. No, wait, that's the big moment. And then look, for Freeman, and I know there's a lot to dissect there, but I didn't have a problem putting bets on a pitch. It's a pick your poison. They're all MVPs. I know Freddie's impossible to get out, but it was just the whole thing was so cool with him doing it. Hadn't had an extra base hit the entire postseason with his ankle, and then has a triple in that game, hits the walk-off grand slam on the the year to the day, basically, in the time with Kirk Gibson. So it was really, really good. That's why the last couple games until last night was kind of a bummer. So let's get a classic tonight, maybe even get a Game 6 to make it feel like it should with these two teams.
100%. I have no problem pitching the walking bets. Booney had to do that. I don't like bringing Cortez in the game, but I would have brought Tim Hill in, but I have no problem at all walking bets. You have an interesting job. First off, you got Tom on the football. I ask you about that at the end. But, you got to deal with, Jeter, got to get him in, and he's done a nice job with it. Big Papi's got a big personality, and A-Rod has grown very well here. So you got to make sure all 3 guys have a chance. Former players, give me your thoughts about playing traffic cop on the pre and the post. Let me hear.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, if you would have told me when I was a kid, hey, you're going to sit up there and do a show with these guys, I would come on. Like, what are we talking about, right? I'm just a nut job like everyone else and growing up in the Northeast, watching my games, screaming at the TV on my couch. And, to get and do that with those guys, they're all great guys. And for me, it's just about, being a point guard. No one wants to hear what I've got to say. I just want to have a little fun with them and let them, do their thing. I think the cool thing, Chris, for me, is, and obviously I got this a lot in the culture too, of growing up and working with you at the Fan. They let me bust their chops, which is so fun, and for them to allow me to do that, I think it makes the show really cool. But they're just great guys. I really enjoy being around them. And you know what, when we walk on the field, quite honestly, with all the stars around, they're the biggest. So it's just been really, really cool. I've enjoyed the heck out of it.
All right, how about Volpe and Jeter in the postgame last night? Did you see Volpe have a little story-eyed looking at his old buddy there at shortstop? Give me a little rundown on that byplay between the two of them in your postgame.
It was awesome. I mean, I just think that makes it so cool. Yeah, I think Volpe was a little nervous, talking to Derek. I mean, gosh, it's his idol. We saw the whole thing that we showed, and it's been out there, that photo from the parade when he grew up a Yankee fan, went to the parade in '09 with his family. And, he came over, and it was just so cool. That's why at the end, I was like, hey, go take a picture with Derek, right? And we got a great picture out of it. Big Poppy's taking the picture. I just thought it was, if you don't love that, if you didn't know Anthony Volpe from around the country and then you saw that, how do you not love the kid, right? It's a real moment. So I really thought that was just cool. He was a little nervous, no doubt, though, dog, meeting his childhood hero.
I would think. All right, let's change. I know we have the baseball. I'll finish there, but let's talk with Brady. You can tell he's really into it. I mean, he's really dissecting every play. He's taking this very seriously. You've let him do whatever he wants to do. He had a lot of bad games early in the year with the Cowboys, but you hung in there pretty good with him. He's grown on a lot of people. Give me a little rundown working with him on the Sunday Football for Fox. Go ahead. Let me hear.
Yeah, he's been great, man. We've been working together, even in the offseason for a long time, just, trying to get to where we want to be. And he's been an awesome guy. I knew him from a working perspective, but I didn't know him from a personal perspective. And I just think, building that chemistry is so important. And I think we've gotten better each week, which is really all that I wanted to do as a team. Chris, here's the coolest thing that I'll give you, right? And I think this is such a real moment, and I think it makes it endearing to people who don't know him or hadn't known Tom until he's gotten in this role. A few weeks ago, we're doing, these games, and we're in Dallas, and it's a bad game against Baltimore, and the Cowboys are coming back. And I'm next to the greatest player in the history of the sport, and he's jumping up and down and like high-fiving me on a 6-yard out to Gavante Turpin, who scores a touchdown because the game's becoming interesting. And I'm like, this is like the greatest quarterback ever.
Wow.
Who's giddy because we got a game and because it's fun and because he loves football. To me, that comes across, and that's real. So that's the best part. He loves it so much, and I think that's coming across for people to see.
Is he very much like Jeter? Compare Brady and Jeter on camera, the both of them, since you now work with Derek for a couple of years. Give me a little comparison there. Go ahead.
It's interesting in the sense that I think we both didn't know them publicly because they never really let you in. I think Derek's a little different because the way he goes about it, he's so savvy, and he just loves, all the minutia. And you could see when you're around him what made him so good and his confidence. And with Tom, he's a football nerd. He loves the game. He studies it. He loves it. It's all like, he's such a technician, Chris. So just like sitting there and asking him, questions that are probably dumb to him, but for me, and have him explain it from a technical standpoint, he loves that stuff. So that's probably the similarities and the difference. Obviously, they're both amazing players, but it's been cool. I mean, look, how lucky am I, right, to get to hang with those guys? It's been pretty sick. I'm not going to lie.
And Big Poppy and A-Rod, let's not forget those two either. And also ratings for Fox has been great. I mean, I thought, listen, you didn't have 2 good games in 2 and 3. If you have a good game tonight, you're going to get a good rating. If you ever get to game 6, you beat the Monday Night Football, which I'm sure you didn't mind. So the ratings for this World Series, I thought maybe a touch higher, but the games aren't great. There's 2 and 3rd games. I'd expect to do even better now if the Yankees can win tonight. How about a ratings perspective? Let me hear it.
Look, I think that I don't care that the Giants aren't playing good football on Monday night. The fact that baseball beat Monday Night Football is a big deal because it hasn't happened in a long time. And this series has had juice, right? Did a great rating game 1. The ratings have been good. I think if it gets to a game 6, it's going to be pretty darn epic. I mean, I really do. So I think it's great for baseball. Chris, the problem with baseball is that the superstars don't get to the biggest stage. I mean, Ohtani hasn't seen the playoffs, right? Getting judged in the World Series. It happens in all the other sports. Mahomes is in the Super Bowl, right? Steph Curry and LeBron are in the finals. In baseball, it doesn't happen. We never saw Mike Trout play in the playoffs. Played 3 games. So I think that is just so big. And obviously it's iconic brands, but it's been good. I mean, I hope it continues, but I think we need a game 6 to really take it to the next level.
I agree. Kevin, you do a great job. Enjoy these next 2 days. We'll see you Sunday afternoon, too, in Green Bay. Appreciate you coming on here today, pal.
Love you, Chris. Thanks, pal.